To Passing Priority. I'm your host, Brad Bonin, joined by Kevin Jones, Jake Van Lunen, Gerard Fabiano, and Jorge the Pig. So, this week, we're going to be doing a Pro Tour Rivals of Ixalan recap as our first topic. So, we know that the Pro Tour in Bilbao, Spain was won by Luis Salvato this past weekend. So, Lantern Control is going to be our first deck in our Treasure segment. So, Kevin, let's go to you first.
Treasure! I think I said last week that I thought Lantern would top 8 the Pro Tour. I did say it would be one of the 3 Lantern experts, being Canister, BBD, and, oh man, who's the last one? Sam Black. That's the most obvious one, but, and it ended up being Luis Salvato, and he had some interesting stuff to say about it. He said that he was testing it, and he thought it was so good that something would most definitely get banned with the most recent update, and when it didn't, he had to, go back to playing it again. I think that it's just really hard to beat this deck unless you try very, very hard to beat it. So, a normal amount of, a couple hate cards won't do it. Even, just the math on when you're locked, when they have, 3 of their, 15 mill rocks or 12 mill rocks or however many they have, you're, 1% to be able to draw an out, which is insane. So I just think that the deck is really good, and I'm definitely a vote for Treasure. I don't know much more to say other than, the play patterns for it aren't particularly engaging or good. And I think that it kind of is interesting to have it in Modern because it's a cool deck until you have to watch a lot of coverage with it present. But at the same time, it's the type of deck that no matter how good it is, a large percentage of people are never going to be inclined to play it. So, I don't think it'll ever be, 15 to 20% of the Modern metagame or anything like that. But I do think it's Treasure, albeit a little bit of a weird deck.
Sure. All right, Jake, what do you think?
So I think I was proven wrong. Last week I said it was trash. I thought there was going to be a lot of incidental hate for it. Turns out, even though most of the sideboards I saw did have a decent amount of cards that were good cards against the Lantern deck, those decks still seem to be losing to the Lantern deck. So I perhaps underestimated it. Luis Salvato is also a Lantern master. He's one of a number of people around the world who've done really well with the deck. It's really sweet that he won the PT. He just got gold last year and lost a bubble match to make platinum. If he had won his last PT match of the year last year, he would have made platinum, and he lost it, so he only got gold. So him getting a PT win and getting auto plat for the year is
deserving.
Yeah, it's sweet. There's some justice there, so I think it's awesome. The deck just won a Pro Tour 2 days ago. So if I don't say it's Treasure, then I don't know what is Treasure, right? Yeah.
All right, Gerard, what do you think?
I would go, and I'm going to say that the deck is trash. I think that the deck basically is the biggest pile of trash ever. Congrats to Luis Salvato for winning. That's awesome to win a Pro Tour. And he did an excellent job. So nothing against him. It was more against everybody else who lost to Lantern. Shame on you. You don't know what you're doing. And that's pretty much it. Because the deck has basically only 4 cards in their deck to stop you, which is Ensnaring Bridge. They play 4 copies of Ensnaring Bridge. So if you can't build a deck to be able to defeat these 4 Ensnaring Bridges, then there's nothing else to say other than shame on you. So I think the deck is trash. I recently played against it on Magic Online, and of course, I demolished it with my blue-white deck, and the opponent was actually very mean to me. Yeah. So basically what happened, I was playing blue-white, and I obviously leave in Pat to exile, okay, because people normally bring in Tezzeret, and he had a Pithing Needle on my flipped Search for Ascanthus. And then he played Tezzeret, and I could have stopped the Tezzeret, but I let it resolve, because I knew he was going to make his Pithing Needle a 5/5, and I would path it. And that's exactly what happened. And then the opponent timed me out. And I've been on a reporting spree on Magic Online. I reported multiple people.
You mean timed himself out?
Yeah, went away from his computer for 9.9 minutes.
Whatever the case
or whatever.
Yeah. But I just have to sit there. So I've been reporting everybody on Magic Online. My name is Gennardi, so if you do say anything mean to me on Magic Online or time me out, you're getting reported. So, but overall, I think it's a trash deck. I think that people just losing to it is, I don't. It's overall, I don't think it's a good deck. Okay. I'm going to Grand Prix Toronto this weekend, and I might go and I might just do terribly, which is fine. But I know
That he's
on
not
the
gonna lose to
1%
Lantern.
chance that I make the top 8, that I will beat Lantern. I will not lose to Lantern in a match for top 8 elimination.
Do you think that you have a 1% chance to top 8 the Grand Prix?
Probably. I mean, I don't even know what I'm playing. I'm probably just going to play Team Moon. So I played a lot of blue-white. I have not played any games with Lantern besides just goldfishing in my room on the floor on the carpet. So.
The
That's
acoustics are
basically it.
good for me
Alright.
to roar
The-
with laughter
the
on
deck
this
in
show.
I feel
general
like I
is
want
just a
carpet
bad
in my
deck.
bedroom.
Carpets
No,
are
lie down.
very,
Right,
very
we've
good.
gone off the rails very quickly.
Yeah, okay.
I think we're great. I think the show is great.
Yeah,
I, think the
I mean,
pig is-
overall,
I mean,
it's just-
you're hugging a pig. He's
you
talking
are-
about
you-
carpeting in his bedroom.
You are
and Jordan's
losing.
actually talking about
You are
magic.
losing to somebody just playing a snaring bridge. Okay, snaring bridge. Cross my fingers. Hope nothing goes wrong. Like the guy plays or the girl plays. I'll just say the guy plays. Okay, the guy plays whatever, a 1/1 thing, and it's just terrible. You know, like not a 1/1, a 1-mana shredder type thing. It just doesn't make any sense. So
You know, if they have 3 of them in play, you're 1% to be able to draw any cards you need.
well, that's poor.
1%?
That's poor deck building. It's poor everything.
They can
It
lock you
really
on turn
is.
3, like half the time.
Alright, that's fine.
Yeah,
we're
that's
gonna
fine.
we're gonna
Okay.
It's absurd.
Yeah.
pivot to the second place deck list, which of course is number 2 on our list. This is gonna be Jerry Thompson's Mardu Pyromancer deck list. I'm a big fan of this deck list because I happen to own 30 plus Bedlam Revelers, but let's see what
Wait,
Kevin
hold on.
thinks.
I actually have over 100.
Oh, I currently own 0. That's why I'm a big fan, because I owned 30 plus and I was able to move them all.
Oh, I have over 100. I'm gonna bring them to Toronto and see what I get for them.
Yeah.
I bought them for probably about, I think it was like 99 cents. At the
I
time.
bought them all for $1.30 at the Season 2 2016 Invitational when Kevin Jones, the Jessups, and
It
Jim
was just
Davis
me
were
and Jim
all
Davis 'cause we're
playing
the only ones who
a
didn't
deck
take
with 4 Bedlam
I
Reveler
remember
in it,
telling
and
the
they were
story.
5-0 in the event. So round 5, I bought out the Bedlam Revelers that were in the room. And then they all went 5-4, and I was an idiot for a year and a half.
If you're one of the 7 people who watched season 1, you know that story because we told it
Yes.
at the end of
Yeah.
an episode.
How much did you sell those Bedlam Revelers for?
I got $7 each.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So.
From the
that's a lot.
Bearded Dragon Games.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Wow, I wish I knew. I would have brought them all. I have like 100 at home. So that's
Early bird gets the worm.
good. Good. Congratulations to you.
All right.
Okay, so-
so now let's talk about the deck.
Wait, can I just take the lead on this one? Or can
Yeah,
you-
sure.
Okay, I just want to say this deck also, I would say overall, a solid deck. This deck was a deck from Magic Online that has been around for a while. I played it in Magic Online probably, about a month or 2 ago. Was not that impressed with it. Overall, I think the deck is not that good. I think that Jerry Thompson is an excellent player.
Yep.
And I think that he played the deck well. Overall, congratulations to Jerry. I just think that the opponents, probably shame on you again for losing to a bunch of 1/1s. The whole thing is that I feel that the people who did well at the Pro Tour, I was not surprised Jerry Thompson did well. I was not surprised that Reed Duke did well. I'm sure there's other players that did well that I'm not mentioning their names, but they have the experience. They put the work in Modern, and they know what's up. Other people are like, or that the guy who played the blue-red deck, he put a lot of work in. He got a cool blue-red deck with Thing in the Ice and Young Pyromancer. Congratulations to him. But for the people that were complaining about the format, they probably just didn't know what was going on. Jerry probably played against a few of those people who had no clue what was going on, and therefore he won. So overall, I would say the deck is fine. The whole thing is, in Modern, I think almost every deck is between trash and almost fine to a few decks kind of broken. Like Tron. Sometimes Tron is trash. Sometimes Tron is fine. And sometimes Tron is broken when you just go turn 3 Karn.
Yeah.
Whatever the case may be. So, overall, would I play the Lantern deck? I would not invest my time playing Lantern, in my opinion. Would I play the Bedlam Reveler deck, Mardu deck again? I would say probably not. Not really in love with it. So that's just my take on those decks.
All right, Jake, what do you think of Mardu Pyromancer?
I think the deck's really good at turning the corner. One of the problems with the deck is that if you fall behind, they just have the right mix of questions and your answers don't line up well, you can just lose games because sometimes they don't care about the contents of your deck, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
The deck's weak to top decks. The deck's good though, and I thought Jerry played really well. I was really excited.
It's a good
His
little
semifinals was absurd. Yeah, it's an insanely on a deck. That's true. I'm actually so I was going to be much more positive about this deck before hearing what Gerard had to say, because I just want to say though that
He didn't say anything.
No. He said that he didn't like it, and this is the type of deck that I imagine Gerard would do really well with. Like when I think about Gerard doing well in constructed events, I think about him having, like Thought Seizes and
Liliana the Veil.
and Liliana the Veil, and like ways to like get a hand of freshies. You know what I mean? Like that's how Gerard does well in constructed events. So this deck seemed like it was very much up his alley in that regard, and for Gerard to say that he's played the deck and he wasn't that impressed, I was like, oh.
He
Well,
was super high.
I haven't played with that deck
Last
and
year.
That deck is like way more Gerard deck than it is a JVL deck. So
Well, that's some inspiration. Maybe I'll reconsider what I'm playing in Toronto. Maybe play the Mardu deck.
yeah,
I have no clue. I was thinking about trying to build an Esper version of it. I actually just thought of it now.
That's
That
what I
could be
do
good.
too. I'm just like immediately inclined to put blue cards in my deck.
But you
because
miss
I
out on
feel
Bedlam
empty.
Reveler, right?
Yeah, you're right. You know what? Maybe the Mardu deck is good. Maybe it is good. Maybe I'll play it. Again, in Modern, you could basically play anything. I was on like an 11-2 run with blue-white, and then I went from 11-2 to 2-7. So
I think blue white is like
I do stuff like that all
the
the time.
most
Yeah.
medium.
Yeah, blue white seems like too.
I think
like,
we'll get
So
there.
we're gonna say that because that's actually on our list.
Oh,
It's
okay.
in the the list in the queue, if
All
you
right,
will.
so Kevin, are you Jake? You're good on Pyromancer?
yeah.
You say trash or?
I'd say it's. So I have to call trash or treasure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of
No,
the
I'm
I'm
point
gonna
of the
say
show.
so. Definitely at like a PT, definitely at the PT, I think it's treasure. I think at a modern PT, I said it last week, and I can reiterate it now because it's true. It came true. Aggressive creature decks are overrepresented by a lot in modern Pro Tours. Some people don't play modern, and those people like are Pro Tour caliber players, and they're like, well, I'm just gonna play something that is like good, but that just like attacks people the way I would like attack people in a game of limited. And so, like, then I can play well, and I don't need to like know the format inside and out, and I can get my wins there. And if you want to beat creature decks, like if humans remains as popular as it has been, like for the last 48 hours, which I don't think it will, but if humans is going to be this popular, if we're going to see a lot more creature decks showing up, then like how do you possibly lose to a creature deck when we're playing this Bedlam Reveler deck? It's a joke.
yeah, I think Jake's.
Yeah.
Mantis Rider.
I think Jake's correct with that. Where there probably was a lot of player. And here's the deal, okay? There are some Magic Pro players that go to the tournament, that go a week early, maybe sometimes even 2 weeks early, and test a lot, and that's cool if that's for you. But at the end of the day, most people are going to do miserably terrible at the Pro Tour, and in my view, it's like a waste of 2 weeks. But some people like it. Other people, like Jake might say, they don't play Modern. They're just going to go there. They don't want to spend 2 weeks in a house testing with people, whatever the case may be. They're going to go and they're going to play Affinity. They're going to play Humans. They're going to play Burn. Some might get lucky and do well. But for the most part, it was the players that seemed to have great knowledge of the Modern format. Like Reed did well. Jerry did well. There was other people who did well. I mean, John Finkel got ninth, but he's just a super smart person.
He's just
But-
a master.
I don't know. I don't want to feel like a hater, but it's kind of true. At the end of the day, I do feel that sometimes Magic, with the whole pro thing, it's kind of glorified to a way where Modern should be there because it's fun for everybody. So a pro player or two pro players shouldn't be like, oh, Modern's bad, we shouldn't have it in a pro format. Because at the end of the day, Magic's for everybody.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
For everybody.
Modern's like the best for
It
viewers.
really
too,
is.
by
It's-
like a wide margin.
Yeah.
Like if anything, like I feel like Pro Tour would be like more viewer friendly if it had more
Literally
modern.
every Bearded Dragon tournament for Modern, like not everyone, but on average, they're like 90, 100
Yeah,
people
they're
for Modern.
absurd.
Modern is
Yeah,
the
it's
tournament
insane.
is the format that like everyone plays.
Yeah,
It's
everybody
also,
loves it.
It's also the format where Twitch chat clamors for the most bans. That was fun.
Well, that's something that I
It's just mob
may or may not
mentality.
talk about later. But like the mentality that people have when something does well and immediately like, oh, ban this is just so stupid and so like reactionary and just
Modern is
horrible.
the closest thing to like a no limit poker tournament where anybody could win. Anybody could go. Like I could go, Jake could go, Kevin could go, Brad. I know you're playing in the Grand Prix. Could go. Could put a lot of work in. You could do terrible. You could get lucky and do well. It's not predictable, and some people don't like that. But it's the not predictable thing is good for the masses. That's why
Yeah.
chess isn't the most popular game in the world, because chess, obviously, the better players 99% of the time going to win. So
All right. So Kevin, what do you think of this Pyromancer deck?
I think it's treasure. I think that one of the interesting drawbacks to it, though, is that, like, the cards that make the deck do what it does, like the velocity cards, like Reveler and Faithless Looting, like, those cards are much better when you are at parity or slightly ahead, because you're able to, like, put your Pyromancer into play before you start looting, so that, like, you're getting incremental advantage as you spin your wheels. And if you, like, need to loot for answers, like, you're going down cards and you still don't find answers, it's just, like, not a great pattern for, like, coming back from behind, to kind of spring off on what Jake said. And, like, you do have a bunch of chump blockers, but, like, the chump blockers don't trade particularly well with most things. So, like, you can end up in a spot where, like, you're blocking, and if you're not racing back, like, you're not really going anywhere. And I think it was noted that the deck kind of spiraled in the games that it won. It would come from, like, either a little bit ahead or a little bit behind, and then just kind of, like, run away with it. With, like, you know, Reveler, and then do stuff, and then Reveler again, and then do stuff, and a bunch of Lingering Souls. But, like, I do overall think the deck is very good. I think that it sees a lot of cards, which is a good recipe in a format as wide as Modern. It makes you able to, like, find your Thoughtseize before they get their card into play, or what have you, that type of thing. I think it's a good deck with Liliana. Like I said earlier, it's able to, like, leverage both the plus and the minus from Liliana, in that it has, like, a lot of cards that it can discard without worrying too much about it, and in that it, like, often can trade the board so that they have one big creature left and then minus and get rid of that. So I think that it's built really well, and that Jerry played great, and it was a treat to watch in the top 8 for sure. I think that one of the games against Vieira in, like, Game 4, I think, was especially insane. But,
Did that player make mistakes?
I don't remember too much specifically. I remember watching, like, super close
It was
games.
really, really tight. Jerry drew a Kolaghan's Command basically, like, on the turn he needed to win. But he set himself up really well to, like, be able to win if he did that. But and it was, like, really, like, his only out. So it was, like, kind of cool to watch. Because,
There was a game where he, like,
you know,
beat, or, like, just barely lived to this Manus Rider, like, multiple turns in a row, and then Javier Dominguez drew another one, and he was just like, alright, dead. Like, he lost, like, the longest game 1 possible in the quarterfinals. But I think the deck is really good. I also think it's another deck that people will, like, look at and be like, this deck is weird, I don't like it, and just not play it. Whereas, like, I think if people played it more, it would do well, and it has been bouncing around Moto for a long time, and a guy I know has a handful of trophies with the deck, and he was screaming to me in December from the rooftops. He's saying, this deck is broken and nobody understands, and I'm like, it's just such a weird, like, it's like a token deck, like, who wants to play that, you know?
Well, the old list also used to be much worse, right? They were not very focused. They had things like Lightning Helix and Path to Exile.
They had Lightning Helix. I don't think they had Path to Exile.
I know some lists had Monastery Swift Spear at a point. I know some lists did have Lightning Helix. And obviously, when you're building a deck like
Burst
that,
Lightning.
you want to build it the more controlling way, the better. And
so something I'd like to note about that deck also is, you know, that deck has been bouncing around on Magic Online, and it has had anywhere from, like, 0 to 3 Kolaghan's Command in various iterations, right? And I think anybody who watched the top 8 and watched Jerry play those matches could say, like, pretty definitively that that card overperformed by a lot. Like, that was, like, when he drew that card in basically any game, when he drew that card off the top, it was, you know, the turning point of said game.
I think that's a little bit, like...
I know that's being results oriented.
Well, yeah, because...
But I think that if people are deciding whether or not they're going to play, like 1, 2, or 3 Kolaghan's Command in that deck, then, you know, I think I would err on the side of 2 or 3.
I would err towards 2, but basically I think that, like, noticing that is a little bit slanted towards, like, the results, because you're not noticing all the times when, like, he has the, like, catch-22 of what do I do with this Kolaghan's Command and this Reveler. Like, I just have to cast it for, like, shock you discard so that I don't have to discard it to my Reveler. It's just, like, a weird situation. Because you can never really use it, like, you can't use it to get a creature back ahead of your Reveler, because you're just gonna... You can use it to get back a Reveler afterwards, so that's great, but when you draw it before you cast your first Reveler, it's, like, super awkward.
Yeah, I mean, but you have, like, Faithless Looting and things like that in your deck to, like, to filter out those problems.
Discard your Reveler and then do it and get it back and then do it again.
And
but
you have, like, Liliana for the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, it's... Like, one of the luxuries of playing a deck like that is that when you play these cards that are like high variance in terms of like how powerful they are at a given stage of the game. Like you can just pitch those cards.
Yeah.
You can just replace them. Yeah.
If you think Kolaghan's Command is a good card in Modern at the moment, then this is a great deck to play it in because it's constructed in such a way that it maximizes the utility of Kolaghan's Command. In that you can orchestrate a situation where you are Kolaghan's commanding away their last card and getting back a Bedlam Reveler. And it's not too tough to do that, you know? It's not too hard to set that
How
up.
popular is this deck going to be at Grand Prix Toronto?
I'd say maybe 1 in
Less
top
than
8
50 people.
and like...
So
No, not the
4%
results.
of the
Kevin.
field.
No, I
Less
know,
than
but like...
20 people maybe even.
So
Like
no.
this is not maybe,
No, I think,
maybe like 30
All right,
people.
my question is
Yeah.
if I'm
I think
playing
100 people
if
will
I'm
play
playing the Team
No,
Moon
that's
deck.
absurd. That's 10% of the field.
No,
No, I think it'll be like...
way.
I think the tournament
Wait,
will be like
100 people?
1,500 people or 1,600 people.
There's not going to be 1,600 people in Toronto.
No, it's going to be like
Yeah.
between 11 and 13.
There's no
That's
way
insane. It's
that
modern.
Sure.
There's
It's also in
no
Toronto.
way that the
Toronto's
Bedlam Reveler
huge.
deck pulls in more than 5% of a modern.
Yeah, no,
deck.
there's
There's
All right, my
no
question
way.
is with my Team or Moon deck, should I play with the Ancestral Visions and the Goblin Dark Dweller package, or should I just play Thundermaw Hellkite?
So here's the thing: is like,
Well, they
like
make-
Thundermaw Hellkite, they both those are
Ancestral
good
Vision's
against them,
great.
right? But I think like Visions is like on the uptick right now because there are so many different
Mid-range decks?
Thoughtseize Inquisition decks.
Yeah, it's so good
And,
against them,
like,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When
okay.
people are playing Thoughtseize Inquisition decks, Ancestral Visions is just so good.
I
It's
think
too good,
Supreme
right?
Yeah,
Verdict
it's
is
They
really
made,
good
absurd.
against them.
they made
Those-
Dark Dwellers
those
a little bit
yeah.
worse because you don't get sweet stuff out of your sideboard like Boom Bust.
But I'm playing
it's still
Multigrain.
like probably very good.
Multi-range good, right?
Yeah, someone earlier was telling me, and I think they were right, that Molten Rain's better than Blood Moon against Tron.
It probably is.
Oh,
especially
I
with
think
surgical.
probably.
Especially with surgical. I'm gonna need to pick up some cards from the Bearded Dragon. If you guys need to pick up cards from the Bearded Dragon, of course they have basically everything in stock. Just go on their website or give them a call.
Yeah.
What about Crumble to Dust?
Or TCG
So
players.
Crumble of
Too
Dust
slow.
is a turn too slow,
Yeah, too
right?
slow.
They've already
Alright.
farmed you.
What's the
They
next
just find
deck?
you
I don't.
That's
Anytime somebody tells me Crumble at Dusk, it makes me mad. It's too slow. And
I mean, if you're playing Birds and Elves,
maybe okay, but
Yeah,
I feel like so many times I would have a Crumble to Dust in my hand, and then I would look over and there'd already be a Karn. Like,
Karn
that's
blowing
too
up
late.
your third land, and
Yeah.
you're like, well, I guess I never get to 4.
Yeah. So, but to
Alright.
be fair, if they're on the play, the same thing could happen with Molten Rain,
that's
right?
true.
So
I think
Yeah.
Molten Rain is like
You could just put
good though. Like Molten Rain is like
So somebody-
aggressive and like
somebody
good in
was
the
saying
decks that are playing it.
That you should try Boom Bust, and you can like just
Flagstones of Trocaire. It's gonna be
Boom.
insane.
Oh, like you always have Stuttering on too.
yeah,
And if you're on the play, you can still do the trick with your
You
fetch
can
land
cycle
uncracked,
your Edge
where
of
you, like-
Autumn while you're at it.
Yeah.
Super lit.
That's the most.
that's fair. You know what? Maybe I should play Boom Bust on my sideboard.
You should. I mean, you should try it. You should. You know.
People
you, should,
were-
you should take all Brad's suggestions with a grain of salt.
People were actually playing Edge of Autumn in like Black Red Hollow one. Just like
That's what. That's 1 in a green, 2
Ramping Growth.
1 in a green rampant growth, and then it has cycling sack of land.
Yes.
I wasn't sure what the actual text box of the card was because I only ever see it cycled.
It might not be Ramping Growth. It might have some other
I think
weird
it's Lay of
ability.
the Land for 2.
No, it puts the land into play, but it's got some weird caveat.
But unless you have 4 or more lands.
Okay.
I don't remember. But
It
it's
definitely
a cool
cycles
card.
to sack of land.
Sure. All right. What's
All right.
the next deck?
The next deck is the other Young Pyromancer deck in our top 8, Blue Red Pyromancer. So this is the Young Pyromancer thing in
I
the
just
ice.
started making a noise.
Like-
I'm sorry.
No Blood Moon deck. It's the commentators on stream basically like pulled up the deck list and kept saying, I keep waiting for the joke. Like, there's no Blood Moon, there's no Through the Breach combo. It's just blue-red control cards with
Yeah.
Young Pyromancers and Thing in the Ice.
Well, the one thing I want to say really quick is that I was watching the coverage, and the one thing that wasn't explained properly was Marshall asked Paul Cheon, why would somebody, and I think the coverage team did an excellent job.
I think there was a glaring hole with no Jake Van Lennon.
No, I honestly think it was an excellent job. I think, shout out to BDM. I think he did an excellent job. I tweeted
He always
at
does.
him. Really
yeah, of
good. But
course.
everyone did an excellent job. Marshall, Paul, whoever. But the one thing that Paul did not explain that I was watching that should have been explained was Marshall said, all right, Paul, why would somebody choose the Platinum Imperium combo over the Through the Breach combo? And Paul gave an answer. He was like, oh, you know what? Like, Platinum Imperium is more like grindy for the mid-range matchups. Like, no, the main answer is
You can cast one.
the Through the Breach Emrakul combo versus the Platinum Imperion combo with the Madcap Experiment. The Madcap Experiment combo is just a 1-card combo. You only need the Madcap Experiment in your hand to do your combo. Of course, that combo is way less powerful. The other one is a 2-card combo. So when facing against decks with discard, like Death Shadow, it's
It's
very
a
bad.
huge
because,
liability.
Yeah, it's so tough for you to be able to have both combo pieces in your hand. So that's the difference, and I think some of the viewers at home might not know because I thought about it and I was like, yeah, like why is that? And I was like, oh yeah, of course, because it's a 1-card combo versus 2-card combo. It's not so much that the Madcap's better against the grindier decks because you have an 8/8 and they can't attack you. It's not like that. It's just the 1-card versus 2-card.
I
So that's the
also
whole
think
thing.
people are like super convinced that like the blue red deck as the moon shell with X combo in it is like a super underpowered strategy overall, and that you're like kind of have to put a combo in your deck to make it playable. And I don't think that's true at all. Evidenced by like Vieren's deck, which
He
is
didn't
just
have
like
Blood Moon or a combo. and
he
his-
didn't
his
have
deck
Blood
still
Moon.
worked well.
I think Field of Ruin is better in his deck than Blood Moon.
I don't think that Field of Ruin is perhaps better in his deck. I would say that Blood Moon is a way more powerful card, so you can't really say one's better than another.
I also think that Blood Moon is a more powerful card when you're putting pressure on your opponent. His deck was way too controlling for it to really take full advantage of a card like Blood Moon.
I think he was putting pressure on his opponent. I think that Pyromancer or Thing in the Ice on turn 2 with a Blood Moon on turn 3 is pressure.
Yeah, okay.
So
I can
I'm
buy
not
that.
to be like Jake, you're wrong.
No,
haha,
no.
you
You're
know
right
what I'm
though.
saying?
You're right from
Yeah.
that angle. But I think that
Compared to the other blue red decks, it's absolutely pressure.
Yeah, I think that the whole thing is with that.
just the Pyromancer is.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: no matter what, like with my Temur Moon deck, I've lost to Blood Moon before. With Blue White Control, with 8 or 9 basics, you still lose to Blood Moon. Blood Moon is just a card that even if the opponent has a lot of basics, people can lose to it. So I think that overall, if you're going to like a Grand Prix, and I know if I go and play Temur Moon, I'm gonna have Blood Moons because you got to get lucky sometimes. It's kind of like the conversation we had a few weeks ago, where sometimes you have to keep those 1-land hands.
Yeah,
Which
that
I-
was an interesting conversation.
Yeah.
I think that
So
Blood
let's-
Moon. Oh, sorry.
Let's rein it back in a little bit. Let's go down the line on Trash or Treasure
For which deck?
for the Blue Red Pyromancer.
Oh,
Kevin, you can still go first. You still got to
No,
say your
wait.
thought, but
Let me go first, Kevin.
okay, you don't get to say your thought.
Yeah, all I'm going to say is I think the deck is good. Treasure.
Jake.
So I think that the deck overperformed at the PT. In many ways, I think that people probably left open unnecessary mana against the deck.
Oh, that's a good point.
especially
So, like,
in
waiting
game
for a
ones and
combo?
things. Yeah,
People
I think
thought
that
he was a
outside of
combo,
the
right?
top
Yeah,
8, I think that
very good point from Jake.
I think that deck in particular, the fact that he was playing all of these cards that were some of the best answers in the format and wasn't pressuring his opponent with one of these big combos, but just the color combination that he was playing and the suite of cards that he was playing would lend itself to playing all these different combos. It seems like he got to play with all these powerful blue instants and had to have opponents who were afraid to tap out on their turn. And if you can create that combination, create that illusion for opponents, especially when you're not a high profile player who everybody's gonna know what your deck does after 2 rounds, I think that's awesome. I also think that there's a tendency to over sideboard in Modern, and his deck was very good at trapping people into over sideboarding. I think the majority of matches I watched him play, he sideboarded out the Madcap Experiment combo. So people were sideboarding in things.
I
To,
don't-
But he
kill
didn't
He
have
didn't have
No,
Madcap
no,
Experiment.
no,
sorry, I'm sorry,
There
but-
were
Okay.
2 decks that were doing well that day, but this
Yeah,
guy
so
on
the guy-
coverage,
He
Yeah,
only
still-
had Thing and Ice.
It was
Yeah,
just the thing in the ice.
But-
But, but still, even that
Yeah.
version, I think that people, when they're playing against that deck, were probably playing around combos.
Oh, your
they're all on
point-
the weekend. I think that the deck on replay, I think now when people start seeing cards like Thing in the Ice and things like that, they're not going to be playing around combos in the same way this person's opponents were.
Yeah.
Which will make it, less powerful. But I also like what I heard from both Kevin and Gerard about, the blue-red cards are really powerful. You don't necessarily have to have one of these big combo finishes, and maybe it's better to just have, powerful cards. And
Yeah, good point with that. I actually
Yeah.
played a Magic Online match and I lost because I played around the Kiki Jiki combo and I didn't play Gideon because I wanted to leave open up Celestial Purge. And it was like a key turn. I'm not going to go into whole details. And long story short, then the guy just played Lightning Bolt, Snapcaster, Lightning Bolt, and I lost. And if I just played Gideon, I almost certainly would have won.
Yeah.
So with the point of the
5
opponents
mana Gideon?
playing around. No, it was 3 mana Gideon.
Oh, well.
Yeah, I could have made the emblem, and then he would have had
Oh, then he has
both
to
the
spend an
deck.
extra lightning bolt.
Yeah, and then I
Okay.
would have won. But I do agree that people do play around. If you're playing against the blue-red player, it's tough because you're like, well, if the guy's a Madcap Experiment deck, it's okay. I could tap out
Yeah.
because the worst thing that's going to happen is he's going to have an 8 in play, and I have the Supreme Verdict in my hand. But if it's a Through the Breach deck,
You could lose
well, I'll just lose the game if I tap out. So
Yeah.
now you're like, don't even know what to do. So
Yeah.
good point there.
I actually think there's a round on coverage where there's a shadow player with Ancient Grudge in his hand the entire game.
Because he thinks he has.
The blue red deck.
yeah,
Fine,
I can
agree
believe
on.
it. Yeah.
I think that it's interesting to note, because what Jake said was just like so insanely smart that I was just kind of sitting there with my mouth open, like staring at him.
But
I
you do that all the
apologize for
time, Kevin.
Yeah, I do. Sorry, but like one thing to spring off that is like if you watch him play in the top 8, I think that what Jake says is 100% true, because if you watch the top 8 matches, he's just tapping out every single turn. He's like, oh, they know and I know that I don't have any of these tricks in my deck anymore. I'm just going to get as much value from Young Pyromancer as possible. So you just go like Pyromancer Visions, Pyromancer Roast, like Pyromancer do this, or it just like he just played it like Jerry's deck actually.
Yeah.
It was weird watching it, and I was like, why is he doing that? He has all these like Mana Leaks and Snapcasters in his deck, and then like when you said that, I just like it was like a watershed moment. I was like, well, he realizes how they're gonna play against him, so he has to like do this to keep pace because they're not gonna leave open mana anymore because they're not afraid of anything. It would be super sick for his deck to just have like Through the Breach Emrakul in your sideboard.
Wow, that's really cool. Is that a Magic the Gathering life pack?
Yeah, they're
It
actually
is.
all
There's
the
a Johnny Von
unhinged
Woodgrass.
basic lands.
Are they for sale at the Bearded Dragon?
Of course.
Oh, I'm gonna
I-
buy them.
Yeah, I'm probably
Along with
That is.
Gloomhaven and the same art of the unhinged lands on full
No, I'm definitely
size
gonna get those life
playmats.
pads.
No, these are the
That's really
unstable
cool.
lands, right?
Yeah.
No, those are
I agree.
unhinged. They're the exact same art. Oh no, you're right. Those are unstable, and these are unhinged.
Yeah.
We also have Modern Masters 1.
Cool. All right, those are really really cool. Those life pads.
Yeah.
And a pig that can do barrel
So
rolls.
overall,
That's not for sale.
is it
Two barrel
so?
rolls.
So it's treasure?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
I really like this deck.
Yeah.
But my Jess guy buddy, Ben Nikolic, I asked him if he thought this deck was good, and he said it was Garbo, quote unquote.
Okay.
So I'll probably just play
Well
Jess
then,
guy this
let's
weekend.
talk about something that your friend Ben Nikolic might like. Blue Eye Control.
Oh, he doesn't like that either.
All right,
But
that's fine then.
I also don't like it. I did
All right,
some
that's your
research.
take. You're
Yeah,
done.
you're
No.
trash. All right.
I actually did a lot of
So-
research
So Jake has
on
already
this
begun
deck.
talking, so it's Jake's turn.
Alright,
You
so,
passed priority, and now it's gone.
That's how the show works. Passing
Yeah.
priority.
I think Blue White Control is one of the most overhyped decks in like recent modern history. The deck plays, like it's like a mana denial deck that plays Path Exile. It's a deck where it loses to itself
Yeah, it's-
a reasonably high percentage of the time, while also just it has like a bunch of like really 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 bad matchups. Its plan for a lot of different its plan against different decks changes wildly. So if you don't know Modern really 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 well, like you can find yourself in a matchup and just like play to the wrong game plan and just like lose. So it's like not forgiving at all. So it's like a really skill testing deck that sometimes just like punishes you and throws you into the gutter for no reason. Like I wouldn't put in the 100 matches or whatever you need to play the deck like optimally in all different matchups, and if you do, it's probably like a reasonably powerful deck, but I think there are just better things you can do in Modern right now.
I don't think it's
Yeah,
good at all.
I probably
Sad.
put in, depending on the time frame, over 100 matches with the blue-white deck. I was actually doing very well with it, and then went on like a big downswing. Couple of decks that are very good against blue-white. First deck's very good against blue-white is Dredge, surprisingly,
Yeah.
because the blue-white deck is a bit slow, like Jake talked about. You don't have too much early interaction. Sometimes you get clogged with Cryptic Command or Gideon and Supreme Verdict. Your spells are like 4 mana, 5 mana. You have like Sphinx's Revelation in your hand. What am I doing with this? And what Jake said, and I was going to interrupt him, but I wanted to give him time to talk, was I agree with him with the fact that your plan changes a lot. And 90% of the time, your plan is like, I hope I draw Rest in Peace against Dredge. I hope I draw Stony Silence against Affinity or Lantern. And I agree with you that it does rely on its sideboard cards a little bit too much. And it's tough to build, too, right? Imagine you're playing against the blue-red deck, and you draw your opening hand. You might not even know you're against the blue-red deck, and you got a couple of Spreading Seas. You're like, oh, wow, these are pretty good. And all of a sudden, they're just turning into 2-mana draw a card that's not that good. Then you're like, oh, yeah, I got, these nice Path to Exiles in my hand. And then you're playing against the deck where Path to Exile is kind of useless. It's pretty bad to Path to Exile early creature. Like, your opponent plays a Dark Confidant, for example. Say you're playing against Reed. And then you're like, well, I just got to get rid of that Dark Confidant. I don't want him to draw cards. I'll Path it. then all of a sudden Reed's like, okay, now I can play my Tireless Tracker and play my fetch land in the same turn because I have that extra mana to make 2 clues. And now that
and
it's
he
just
thoughts he's a seed and you don't have a rule spell for the tracker. And the
yeah.
game's over.
I really like blue white. And the one takeaway from blue white, there's a chance I play blue white at the Grand Prix. The one takeaway that I think is very good, and a lot of people don't know this, so if you want some secret tech from the passing priority team, is that the Gideon package is very excellent, and I wonder if there could be put in a different shell, like it doesn't only have to be in.
It's in the red white deck, right? The red white prison
It
sun
is.
and moon deck.
It also is kind of in like the
That deck
black,
is
the
bad.
black white, like pox type deck,
Yeah.
small pox deck, and 4 mana Gideon, 3 mana Gideon, and 5 mana Gideon. I realized that if you go 3 mana Gideon against burn,
The game
And-
almost ends.
well, the whole thing is that if you tick it up once on their creature, then say, for example, they don't kill it there, you make an emblem. Then they finally kill it, let's just say. Then you play the 4 mana Gideon. Like, what are they going to do now? They have to get through another 2/2 creature. They have to kill the second Gideon. And if you ever play the 5 mana Gideon with the emblem, that's a loyalty of 8. So there's some decks where that whole Gideon package is really good.
That's cool.
And come to think about it, maybe that smallpox deck is good now. I know that a fellow Bearded Dragon player that plays here, Mike Dirkso, he actually won like a IQ or PTQ.
You won a PPTQ.
PPTQ
6
back.
months ago.
Yeah.
Here, right?
No,
No,
it was
someplace else,
somewhere
but
We
else,
were
yeah.
just talking about Flagstones and Trocaire.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were.
So when he was playing it though, his deck did not have the 3 or the 5. It was just playing the 4 mana Gideon as a thing that generated tokens for you because you didn't care about the second
I think
creature.
I think we might have talked about adding the 3 mana Gideon
Okay.
in there. Yeah.
Because when he won the PTQ, it was just playing like Liliana and Lingering
Okay.
Souls and Bloodghasts.
Yeah.
So something I would like to note though
Yeah,
about
the
the
blue white deck.
deck before we move on is how powerful I have found the 3 mana Gideon into Supreme Verdict line.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, sweet.
3 mana Gideon forcing people to overcommit into your Wrath effects is really good, and I think that's like the best thing that deck is doing, and I think other decks could learn from that deck. in
Oh
that
yeah, I
regard.
agree. Like
Yeah.
if I do play the Temur Moon deck, that's
Yeah.
like a strategy
Yeah.
that is good against my Temur Moon deck. 3
Mhm.
mana Gideon. So blue white overall, I don't know if you want to say it's trash or treasure. It's a unique deck to say the least, and
Let's say it's trash with glimmers of treasure. That appears to be the consensus.
yeah, possibly.
I say it's trash, but I did a lot of research on it because I noted that 2 of them did extremely well at the Pro Tour. Nassif went 8-1-1
But
with the
like
deck,
Nassif with Islands and Plains,
and
is just
Alex
Nassif.
Magilton went 9-1.
I've also watched Nassif stream that deck for like 6
Yeah,
hours
yeah.
a day, every day for the last like
Yeah.
4 months.
It's like the
so-
perfect deck for Nassif to play.
Yeah.
And I know that Calcano's teammates played it, Raf Levy, Saito, Dazani, and Li Shitian. So I asked Mr. Calcano, who's a fan of the show, he says he watches. Shout out to Calcano.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I asked him. I asked him how the deck was. He said it was the best deck by far in testing, but when they played at the Pro Tour, they didn't do very well. We added up their records. It was a combined like 17,
The Calcano play that?
14, and 2, I think.
The Calcano play that?
No, he said he played one league, did badly with it, and didn't want to play it.
Yeah, I know Ralph Levy went 5, 4, and 1,
Yeah, and
which is
Dazani
kind
went
of
6, or Li Shitian went 6-3-1.
okay.
Dazani went 0-3, and Saito went 6-4.
Yeah, it seems like a type of deck that if you're looking for a 5/5, it's going to guarantee you that 5/5 no matter what. And you know,
If you're really good at drafting, like just need to qualify again, I guess you could play it because it has some good matchups. But
maybe sure.
I
But
wouldn't-
To be
like-
fair, Jeremy Design he went 0-3, you said right? So
yeah,
yeah,
I mean,
whatever.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna move on.
Okay, that's fine.
the majority was skewed.
We have
heavily
a lot more
towards-
stuff to cover. We're gonna move on.
Okay.
So
6 and 4,
All
5
right.
and
That's
5.
fine. We're gonna move on now.
Wait, hold on. Are we going to move on or not?
It depends on if Kevin keeps trying to say words, and I have to keep repeating myself, waiting for him.
I'm gonna do my best to write
Okay.
Brad out of the show. That's for damn sure.
Okay. So we're gonna move on.
All right. So what's the next topic?
So the next, with it, we have the 5th deck in our
Okay.
segment. So this is gonna be Death Shadow.
All right,
There's
this will
a
be a
macro
quicker one,
discussion.
All right,
Yeah.
quicker one. I'll start.
Yeah.
I'll set the tone since we have a lot of topics to cover. Death Shadow overall very good deck. Definitely treasure. You could play Grixis. You could play the 4-color one with Traverse. You could play I actually 5-0'd with a Sultai version, and then my only green cards were like 4 Goyves, 1 Decay, and 1 Pulse. I was like, well, why am I playing green? And then I did bad after that. I don't really know. Overall, the deck is good. Death
Yeah.
Shadow, good deck.
Jake, what do you think?
I think deck's really, really good. I think the Traverse version is better positioned right now. I think Tarmogoyf is awesome right now. Deck is treasure.
Kevin, what do you think?
deck is also Treasure. Another deck that I looked up some numbers on. There were 4 of them between the 8-2, 8-1-1, 9-0-1, and 9-1 deck list. So the top 2 tiers of the decks of the Pro Tour. There were 4 shadow decks. One was Traverse with no blue. It was Andrew Beckstrom. He played like Goreclan Rampager and stuff. The other one was the Traverse deck that splashed Stubborn Denial and top aided. It was Jean Daprez, I think is the guy's name. Forgive me if I messed that up.
Jean-Paul, but yeah.
Yeah. And then 2 Grixis Shadow decks played by guys from Team MGG. It was Ben Friedman and Matt Severa.
Sure.
So they both went 8-2 with their decks. Yep. So I think the deck is Treasure. I still think that the best version to play, and by best I basically mean safest, is just the Grixis deck because it's the smoothest one.
Okay.
I'm skeptical of the Traverse deck, mainly just because I have no idea how to play it. I feel like there's so much going on that it's really hard to play correctly. And I think if you're going to look at this tournament and go, oh, I need to pick a deck for Toronto, I would not advise you to pick that deck up cold because it seems like there's a lot of stuff going on with regards to fetching and stuff. And I don't know. It's interesting. The Shadow, like I put down on the thing macro archetype, and I think Shadow as a strategy is very, very powerful, borderline too powerful. Also because it warps the way you build your deck.
That's a discussion for later. We're really gonna move on soon.
All right, go ahead.
It seems like you're about to segue into another topic. Finish up your thought.
No, I'm good.
Okay, so it's Treasure. Even I'm able to win with it. It's definitely Treasure. All right, so coming up next,
5-0 league with it.
I
Brad
found
is
2
so
leagues
proud
in
of
a row.
himself, yeah.
He 5-0 2 leagues in a row.
I have a teammate who told me it quote passes the monkey test because even you can win with it.
Really
Brad.
cute. Really quick. I've been tweeting at what's the guy's name? MTG Lee. Lee Sharp. I've been tweeting at Lee Sharp asking for more competitive.
Weeknight challenge.
Yes, I want more competitive leagues because 5-0 a league, even though I don't do it all the time.
Yeah, it's too easy.
I rarely do it, but yeah, it kind of just doesn't mean the deck's good. But if a deck goes 10-0 or wins something,
I mean,
then it's good.
I'll have you know I went 11-0 with it, and the deck is, and I'm still bad. So
Okay.
Now I play.
I don't know if there's any threshold at
That's a deck
which
you can win with.
someone lucky can't get there.
All right, what's
Now
the
I
next
play
topic?
6 to
So
10.
the next
Before
topic-
Kevin says anything.
The
And
next
I
topic
still
is
can't
something
5-0.
that Kevin's gonna have no idea what to say about.
Okay.
This is gonna be modern no ban list. So this is before Kevin reached his semi-pro status.
Okay.
When these cards were first printed.
Yeah. So is it my turn to talk?
I suppose. Are you gonna say intelligent things?
Are you asking me what I would play for Modern No Ban List, or what does this mean?
Well, okay,
Sure.
here's the question. You have to, and you can only answer it within 30 seconds or less. The first part of the question is, are you going to play in the modern no ban list classic or whatever they have?
It's actually a full open.
Open shore. And B, what would you play?
You have
Well, I
30
would
seconds.
certainly play, provided that I don't day 2 the invitation.
Okay, and then what would you play? Think of a card that's banned and build your deck around that.
I think I would play. I answered this on the social media page. I think I would play Jeskai, and I would play Splinter Twin and Stoneblade combined with Countertop and Dig Through Time. So there's a lot of cards.
And Jace the Vice Melter?
So you're
like
playing
2.
You're playing
Yeah.
like
Okay.
6 cards on the ban list.
I'm playing like a bunch of them. Yeah.
Top.
And I would also play, like-
Jace, Twin, Dig.
I would play bad cards that like you can't play now, but you can play when your deck is that good. Like I would play Disrupting Shoal and stuff like that. I think the deck would be super sweet. I don't know.
Okay.
It'd be fun for sure. It's
Jake,
kind of a
what-
fun format.
Jake,
in my
what would you
opinion.
play?
There's so many things I would want to play here. I think that I think Countertop, I think is one of the most powerful decks ever. I think Dark Depths is probably the best deck to play.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're looking for the most powerful thing that you could do in a no ban list modern, then using Thespian Stage and Dark Depths is something that your opponent can't interact with. Like it's just the most busted thing in the universe. It's just 2 lands and you get a 20/20 flying indestructible. So I think that's the best thing you can do. I think you just shove that into a bunch of different decks. So you can just play Sylvan Scrying, and then your opponents lose. You just play a bunch of discarded counter magic.
Play like Abzan.
It's just
with
life
in the Loam
it's just
and that
completely
combo.
busted. Yeah, nobody's gonna beat that. Yeah, so if you're looking to play in that tournament, you want to win. You need to play Dark Depths and some way to turn it into a
Activate it,
Merit Lodge, and the other cards, like Jason Mind Sculptor is a good card. You can play it with those cards if you want to. Counterbalance Lock is good.
Would you rather do this in a super fair deck or a super unfair deck? like a Turbo Land deck or like a blue deck with it in it, like a blue mid range.
So let's
deck.
let
I
you.
just want to play a ton of discard spells. I just
Okay.
want to play like the disgusting
like
amount
the
of
old
discard
Doctor
spells.
Death's deck.
Okay, so
Okay,
Gerard,
so-
what are you playing?
I think both are good. The only issue I have with the Dark Depths is that I think there's too many things that people will still play. I think people will play Path to Exile still.
Oh yeah, but it's not
Yeah.
like you're not playing like counter magic and discard. Like,
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe like Ghost Quarter. Not too sure. For this one, I like Kevin's answer a bit more, but I wouldn't be that crazy. I think I would just play blue red.
Blue Red Delver.
No, I wouldn't play blue. I would play blue red counterbalance top with Jace, and I would play the Splinter Twin with Blood Moon. So it'd be like Blood Moon, Jace, counterbalance top, and the Splinter Twin combo.
Okay.
Of course, with Dick. I wouldn't go with the
That only
Stone
leaves
Blade.
like 16 other slots on your deck, right? Like, what are you playing? Like bolts and like what else? Like,
Well, you
Bolts,
can play like
so every deck
two
starts with 4
copies of a bunch of
missteps.
things.
I don't know if
like
you guys.
preordained.
I don't know if you guys have seen any actual like
That
deck
card's
lists
good.
from these events. There's a store on the West Coast, Mox Boarding House, that runs these events like
it's in
almost
Seattle.
almost
It's an
bi-monthly,
awesome store.
like almost every 2 months.
Mhm.
And Blue Red Delver is far and away the best choice by like a pretty wide margin. You basically just play the Blue Red Delver deck that was legal in Modern with like four mental
Cruisers?
missteps, and you're just like make your opponent realize that whatever they're pretending is legal is much worse in a world where everyone's deck is 56 cards with 4 missteps.
Do they play Treasure Cruise?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like 4 Cruise, no dig. It's
all
like
right, that-
we
4
give up.
4
Okay.
Delver, 4 Swift
All right.
Spear, 4 Lightning Bolt, 4 Lava Spike, like 4 Rift Bolt, 2 Searing Blades for the mirror. Your board has like Magma Sprays in it for the mirror also.
Do you
and
play
it's
Jace
like
in the sideboard?
no.
Lava
Jace,
Spike seems super
in
loose.
practice, anything that starts
So
on turn
loose.
3 is infinitely too slow.
Okay, that's fair.
When that deck was legal,
Like
in-
countertop's too slow, Jace is too slow, Stoneforge is too slow, Stoneforge or GT is too slow. Like everything's way
Lava
too
Spike,
slow.
probably.
when that
probably
deck
not
was
the best
legal in
card for
Legacy,
these decks.
its worst matchup of any other deck besides like Dredge was Jeskai Stoneblade.
Sure,
So I
but,
said
like,
that I made
Treasure
my
Cruise
choice
didn't
with that
exist.
deck.
Yeah.
No, Treasure Cruise was in the deck. It was a 4 of, and the best deck against it was Jeskai Stoneblade with Dig Through Time instead of Treasure Cruise. It was like the worst.
You're
matchup
talking about
ever.
actual legacy though.
Yeah.
So there's Force of Will.
Well, you got Disrupting Shoal, man.
Disrupting
All
Shoal
broken
has to
cards,
match the
why
mana
not?
cost.
Really quick before the next topic, does Dredge win in that format with Golgari Grief Troll?
No, because you still don't get to play Bazaar
No,
or
it's
LED.
still good though.
Okay.
You get Dread Return though.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
You do get Dread Return.
You just
and,
kill
and,
them.
and Golgari
But your
for
draw
that.
spells are bad, so you don't set up like you set up a turn where you do like 38 instead of like 12 on turn 3. Like it's still turn 3. And also, I don't know if you've ever had your Cathartic Reunion spell pierced, but the game still ends.
Do you want to play against elves with like Glimpse and Skull?
So
Clamp
mental
leaders?
misstep is what you guys are missing here. Like
Yeah, but elves can just play 4 mental misstep too.
sure, but if you're using 2 cards in your opener to protect your Llanowar elves, then that leaves you with a lot fewer cards in your hand to do powerful things. If your mental missteps are Lotus Petals towards your Treasure Cruises, and you're naturally playing blue so that you also don't always pay 2 life in the burn matchup, your deck is much better.
I love elves to death.
This
and it
metagame
does not
exists.
sound
Like, it's
great
not
to
just
me.
a thought experiment.
Okay.
I don't believe. I think it's just a thought experiment. but
Okay.
That's just me.
Yeah.
I like the thought experiment though, and I'm
fun
down
to
to
think
continue
about.
talking about
Sure.
it.
Yeah.
Alright, so our third topic is that Grand Prix Toronto is this weekend, so we've touched on this a little bit. I think all 4 of us are going in some capacity.
Yep.
If I can figure out the
likely.
passport thing,
Well, actually, I'm not sure. Actually, I'm not going to go. I realize I'm not going.
Really? In the last minute?
No. I was joking that I was going to go. I'm not going to go.
Oh, okay.
that's funny.
All right.
Alright, that's a pretty funny
Really?
joke. I liked
Yeah,
it.
okay. So,
Gerard, ever the
You're doing
trickster.
coverage,
no,
right,
I'm
Jake?
being
Yeah,
serious.
yeah,
But
I'm
anyway,
doing coverage.
I'm sure you guys are going to go, so have fun.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll be watching from home.
Someone stole my passport out of my car, so if I can get a new one in like emergency time, I'm gonna go. And if not, I'm gonna like try to talk to them. And if not, I'm gonna get detained at the border and try to go anyway.
Okay, good. Really, really terrible plan. Just stay
Not
home
a
with
good
me.
plan.
Jake.
Yeah, I'm flying. I'm
Kevin.
staying at a hotel, and I'm going.
All right. Kevin, just stay home with me.
Very straightforward. Jake,
We'll go hit up some
you're
tournaments.
locked, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, he
I'm
has
doing
to go.
coverage. I also had a passport issue because my passport expired in January, and I sent it in to get renewed, and then there was the government shutdown. It slowed down the process. So now I have to like go to an office in New York because I made an appointment when I found out my thing was getting paid back to me because I'm responsible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So
No,
our fourth
whatever.
topic.
I
Our fourth topic is a little bit about design and the end product. So our question just for the panel is, how does design impact the competitive side of Magic and marketing? So this is a Kevin Jones question. If you don't really understand what it's asking, that's okay.
I didn't write
Neither
this.
do we.
I know exactly what it's asking.
I didn't write this. This is
So I think that
radio edit.
Like this could be, this question can be answered in a number of different ways. So if we're talking about the storyline in particular, then I think that people who play Magic can choose to care as much or as little about that as possible. I'm not particularly deep into it, but the fact that it's out there and that it exists, I appreciate that. the Hansel thing from Zoolander, you know what I mean? But for what it's worth, also, I think that another part of this question is how powerful and or how weak the cards that they're printing happen to be, or how good they are given the current state of affairs. So, like, for example, I think that maybe there wasn't as much excitement as there could have been about a set like Rivals of Ixalan, because there weren't that many, really powerful constructed cards. Like, we got some nice role players. We got some cool stuff.
Though.
Yeah, we got like Phoenix is insane. The set definitely turned out to be. Yeah, the set definitely turned out to offer up more than people initially thought it would. Still, though, I think that sets like this are to some degree necessary to preserve the playability of formats. Mm-hmm. I don't think you want to be
we definitely don't
inundating. Yeah, Kaladesh was absurd. The power level was pushed way too far, and I think it made Standard worse. I think that most people would agree with that. Yeah,
I think that's a good spot for me to hop into my take.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to take this a little bit of a different direction and say that design in that in how it pushes them to build flavorful mechanics, I guess, and build mechanics that go throughout both blocks in the set. It can be, when it goes wrong, it can be really bad, and Energy is the number one example of that in recent memory, in that they wanted to make a mechanic that was flavorful with the way that the world of Kaladesh was built, and Energy with all the power from all these artificers and this whole little steampunk sub-theme thing is kind of interesting and cool. And I played some Kaladesh Limited and I generally enjoyed it. Energy was really sweet in Kaladesh Limited, but I think that a lot of times the design, the flavor of the set helps to influence the limited format, and that's good because it usually leads to an interesting limited format. Innistrad being the number one example, I think it's one of the best limited formats of all time, and also one of the most flavorful sets of all time. And then there were werewolves, and they made sense from a design perspective and from a competitive Magic perspective and from a flavor perspective. So there's glowing successes in the recent past in that vein. However, there's also glaring failures with Energy where you made it and then you held it true through Aether Revolt, and then you wanted Energy to be something that was good enough for people to play. So they were all right, well, let's just put Energy on things why not? Let's make this blue-green creature. What does a blue-green creature do? Oh, it cantrips. So let's just add 2 energy on the end of it so that people play it in their energy decks and energy looks cool. And then all of a sudden it's just broken.
Yeah, the problem is the cards were just pushed too hard.
Well, they knew they weren't doing energy in the other set, and they wanted to make sure energy was a mechanic that would stay playable.
The real problem was that the energy cards that had a built-in payoff weren't a problem. The energy cards that had no payoff whatsoever and just had energy tacked onto them arbitrarily were problematic.
We're gonna rein this discussion back to design.
This is about design.
That's a different discussion.
I'm literally talking about design.
You're discussing why energy is a cancerous mechanic.
Why do you cut me off every time I talk?
Alright, so I'll just hop in here really quick. For me, I have no clue. I heard of the word Dominaria because I watch covers sometimes and they try to say, oh, Dominaria, something like that. But I really don't know the worlds and stuff. And I don't think that most competitive Magic players really care about that, to be honest. I don't really know any Magic player that I know. Unless, if you say that you care about it, if you truly care about it, you'll be the first person to tell me.
I already said that I don't really, but I do know people who do, and there definitely are a lot of people who do.
Okay, I actually just remembered somebody who told me that they know the story. And shout out to him! Congratulations to my good friend on making top 8 of the Pro Tour. He actually knows a lot about the storyline. Is Reed. So Reed really likes the storyline. So. You know what? Now that I remember Reed likes storyline, maybe I want to get into the storyline so I can have a conversation.
I read the books when I was much younger.
Yeah, I did too, actually.
The storyline is
maybe there's more to it. We're brushing it off now, but
it's certainly good because, like you said, you can do as much or as little as you want.
I feel like the storyline could go any way, and I remember somebody coming up to me and saying, "Hey, did you hear in 2018 there's going to be a Magic the Gathering movie. I'm like, really? I was like, you sure? And this was like years ago.
What would
Yeah.
be more interesting, a
And-
movie about like the storyline or a movie about like the people who play Magic?
Well,
Obviously,
we already got the latter, and it
yeah,
was great.
it's not even close. It's obviously
not feel.
about the
People who play.
No, the storyline. Nobody
Oh.
cares about the people who play, really. I'm just telling you, Kevin, I don't want to burst your bubble, okay? But the people care about the storyline. If it became, like, imagine if it was like the Royal Assassin. You know, then all
What
of a
is he
sudden...
up to? Like hiding behind the door?
No,
or whatever?
like, that could be a cool storyline about something, you know.
Yeah, like what is the Royal Assassin
Sorcerer's
doing
Queen.
hiding behind that door?
You know? and then he has a horse, like the Thundermare. Or the,
Yeah,
you know,
Nightmare.
yeah.
Alright, I don't know how this got to where it's at.
I just said that to try to burst Kevin's bubble.
I thought
Some
that if
people
I
care
made
about you,
noises, I might not get
People
cut
care
off.
about you, Kevin. Don't
Because
worry.
every
I'm
time I
joking.
speak words, Brad just cuts
Yeah.
me off, so I'll just
Okay.
make horse and pig noises for the rest of the show.
Well, bless you.
I'm
Wait,
actually
hold on.
allergic to Kevin's
Hold on.
nonsense.
Why are you off topic sneezing over there? That wasn't part of the script. So
I think
But
he
I'd
made
also like
himself
to,
sneeze.
as a nice little end cap to the segment. I think we should add on the fact that, you know, we all started out being like, oh, we don't really care about the storyline, but then it became revealed that like
we do care about it.
multiples of us like have
That-
read the books
yes.
when we were kids.
It's cool.
And like that definitely got me more involved in Magic, like
it's
reading
totally-
those books when I was on vacation. Stuff
Yeah,
with my family.
everything I said about not caring about the storyline,
Yeah, yeah.
I take back. I do care about the
Yeah.
storyline. I'm gonna go find out more about it.
Yeah,
And
I
if
feel
you
like
have
I
any
feel like maybe I
questions,
should
if
get
you
back
have any
into it.
questions about the storyline, you can message Elizabeth at the Bearded Dragon Games or Reed Duke on Facebook.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
gonna
no.
start a book club.
Oh
for
no.
Magic books.
Okay.
So shout out to those two people
We
that
should
know a
start
lot
a
of
show
magic
that's a
lore.
book club about the magic books. That's such a good idea.
No, what we should really do is do a show. Like I dress up as like the Royal Assassin and give you like a headlock, and you're like Jace or somebody.
Passing priority between the pages.
That would be cool.
There
We
was
set
a
up
no.
pads
You know what,
and,
Jake?
There was
No,
a competitive
we get
player.
insurance.
Alright,
who used to
so
dress up as Jason
we
before.
are basically devolving into our post-show breakdown. So we're gonna try to cap off this show before the nonsense level gets to be too much. So,
Wait, can I say
I don't-
one thing? Just one thing.
okay,
Okay, so you know how some people are like the cosplayers and stuff. Imagine
this
if
is
it was-
already too much.
Imagine if it was like a cosplayer, like Jace, Liliana, whatever, and they go into like a Royal Rumble. Wouldn't you watch that?
Like
What
cosplay
if-
fights.
What if they like play their cards, but then like have to like do what the cards are, right?
Oh, there was
So
like
it's like a bat or something. They have like a toy bat. They like throw it at the person.
No, I'll be
and they
serious.
attack them.
like in Vegas,
Everybody-
there was like a
Yeah.
life-size game of Magic with like huge Magic
I
cards,
played that,
and I just wanted them to like go wild and just start like tackling
They
each
used, to
other.
have, they used to have that at Nationals, and I played, and it was like, all right, watch that, because they didn't pick me. I was like, me. They're like, no. And I watched it. It was awesome.
I played
All
like
right.
chess on like a
Okay,
4-foot
That's
chess.
that's fine.
Great.
Yeah, time to cut out Kevin.
Oh, I got a question for Brad.
Sure.
How did you enjoy your last week on the show?
Oh, it was great.
You cut me off too much. I'm writing you out.
Wait, is it
We're
over?
actually replacing me with this pig. Its name is Jorge. Look for it next week to be your host. So, yes, the show is over. No, as usual, I don't know what the giveaway is. No, as usual, Liz has not messaged me who the winner is yet. Look for that in the next 28 seconds. I'm being told there is no giveaway, so don't look
Oh,
for
it
that.
said there was a giveaway online.
I'm being told conflicting opinions. My earpiece is broken, so
Pick someone out of the chat. We'll give them something. Whatever.
the chat is not open because I'm a good
So
host.
while you figure out what's going on with this, I'd just like to quickly say we were talking about those
Oh,
games of Magic
yes.
that were played with the giant cards. At Worlds in 2007, they had the giant cards and had like a big game of Magic in Central Park. And I got
Oh, that
to,
is so cool. I didn't know that.
and like this like huge like multiplayer game where everybody had giant cards, and I got to be like a team leader for like a bunch of little kids, and we played with like this elves deck, and we like demolished everybody. We just like had an Imperious Perfect in play, and like there were no removal spells on any of the decks, so we just like made elves every
Just
single turn.
5
like,
feet tall.
and like they like ran out of giant elf tokens, and it was just the coolest thing ever. And I have the giant Imperious Perfect at home.
That's
so,
awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
I went to that Worlds. It was in New York City. It was awesome.
Yeah.
And
I have
saw
someone
some
in the
pros
chat
real life.
who says this is Morty's fault. I agree 100%. It is Morty's fault.
I don't
That's
know.
it.
That was. Are we just improving? Let's
I
just
have
keep
no
rolling.
Yeah.
idea who wins
still
or
alive.
what they win.
I would be so good because this is what I think about all the time. Whether I'm like driving or I'm in the shower, I think what insane things could we do on passing priority? And when Brad was going on his rant to Kevin, I literally wanted to take this seltzer water and just splash it in your face.
I would lose my mind.
And I just would wonder, what would happen. Brad, what would happen? Would you be upset?
It's just seltzer water, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I would probably take
Say
it
you would
as
be
an.
so that it doesn't.
I would be so offended that I would get up, take this chair, and try to hit you with it.
Okay.
So-
Then I won't do it.
There's like this game that my girlfriend and her friends play at parties. It's like you take this like big.
And with that, that's our show.
No, this is great. This is great. Do the giveaway. I'll tell the story. Anybody wants to know the story? Hit me up online. I'll tell the story.
Somebody says
I'll tell the story.
improve the
All right.
improv.
So basically,
Wait, you guys want to improve the improv?
Somebody told us improv, and then they typoed it to be
I'm-
improved,
hold on,
and then
hold on,
somebody
hold on,
followed it up
hold
with
on.
Wait,
improve
hold on.
the improv.
Hold on. Are we still live?
Yes, 100%.
And this guy wants to improve the improv.
Yes. If that's not next level improv, I don't know what to tell you.
What about that?
That was fantastic.
I did not see that coming.
I
Did
can't
not
believe
see
that
that
happened.
coming. So that guy, you can't say anything.
What is
We
that?
improved the improv.
All right.
Oh my god.
Are we done with this show?
All right.
Okay,
No.
we're done, right?
No, we're not doing good. This is the greatest moment that has happened so far.
Sit down.
Wait, now I have to sit down?
Yeah, we're about to have a giveaway.
It's too wet. It's just too wet.
Too
All right.
This is gonna kill us.
It's okay.
Oh, that was awesome.
So if you don't think that this is the best Magic content out there, just take that clip, put it on Reddit, front page.
Oh, that
Show
was
is the
great.
best show.
Okay.
Everyone is staring mortified
Who
at
won
us. I
something?
can't believe that
Yes,
So
happened.
if I give you a
Who won something? This is our lovely
I
assistant
tell you
Liz.
who.
She's off camera.
JED
JED.
IJOE_10. That's it.
Somebody _10 won a thing.
I can't.
Congratulations.
Don't have
Jedi
a-
Jow _10.
Yes.
Jedi Joe 10.
Joe 10.
So congratulations from all of us here at the Bearded Dragon Gaming Center. You won Jorge the Pig. We will ship it to you. Express, FedEx. Give us your address. That's fine. From the Bearded Dragon Gaming Center here in Burnsville, New Jersey, we have Winter Art Fabiano and Dying of Laughter, Kevin Jones, Jake Van Lunen, and Brad Bonin. We'll see you next week.